East Hampton Town Board, we are live.
Thank you, Jason. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the May 21st meeting of the East Hampton Town Board. Carol, if you could please call the roll call.
Present.
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 Present. If everyone could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. So we're going to open today's meeting with public comment, and then we had originally had 4 topics scheduled for discussion, but we've learned at 9 o'clock this morning that Jonathan Keyes and Ann Welker are not available. They had a conflict in their schedule, so we will discuss the Suffolk County on-demand bus service, hopefully in June. Then we have the Town Hall charging station update by Kim Shaw. Katie Casey is going to be presenting on the 3 Mile Harbor Affordable Apartments project. And then I also heard from Richard Whalen this morning that he's unable to join us, so the Bluff Road right-of-way topic will be moved to June 4th. That will be followed by liaison reports, and then we have a few board resolutions. So, Carol, I don't know if there's anyone signed up to speak. Okay, is there anyone here in the room that would like to address the board? Jason, is there anyone on the line that wanted to speak during public comment?
I have one caller on the line. Let me unmute.
Please put them through.
Hello, caller, 8764. You're on the air.
Good morning, Town Board and Jason. This is David Buddha. How are you?
Morning, David.
By the way, I just want to remind everyone that today is what's called Grievance Day, the deadline for filing property tax grievances. All right, but that's not why I'm calling. I'm calling because I'm concerned that you are putting on today's work session, the topic of the funding and approval of funding for the roundabout at the intersection of Stephen Hans Pass and Long Lane, 2 holes of Water Road. I looked online and I cannot find anywhere the EAF that was prepared by the town planning department for your benefit. I don't know if it's a full EAF or a short version. I don't know what it says. I know that you haven't reviewed it in public beforehand, which is the process that's ordinarily done, say when the planning board has to deal with deciding whether or not an EAF is acceptable. They go through it line by line. I will just remind you that several people have expressed either orally at meetings or in writing in letters concerns about the need for such a large roundabout on the edge of an extremely scenic area of significance. I remember that just to the east of that area, that the town highway department had proposed some kind of roundabout for another intersection where Stephen Hans meets Old Northwest Road, and then they thought better of it, and they just simply put in a minor readjustment and was able to solve the problem. To go ahead and spend $1.5 million, half of it from the town, half from the highway, without trying the simpler solution of simply trying, see if it works, adding 2 more stop signs to that intersection, or at least stop signs during the busiest time of the year when it's necessary, because 9 months of the year it's not even a concern. I drive through there frequently, and more often than not, it's not really a traffic concern to me. So there are a lot of people who are concerned about the visual impact. I remember, it's been a while since you discussed it at a work session, it wasn't so much a roundabout, but what I would call an oblong about, because there was a need to design it so that large, heavy trucks that use that roadway could pass it safely without going in a circle. So it was kind of more like an oblong, which of course even extends the impact on that intersection and extends the impact on the scenic vistas. So for you to do this at a work session, for you to do it without making the EAF available to the public, for you not necessarily even going to discuss it beforehand, to me is really short shrifting the public. And I wish that you would take your time on this and give people an opportunity to see what the planning department has done and what you're proposing by way of an EAF resolution for this unlisted action, which does require an EAF action on your part. Thank you very much.
Jason, is there anyone else on the line?
Yes, we have one more caller. Caller ending 6304. You're on the air.
Hello, Town Board. This is Jeff Bragman. I'm calling in. I wanted to offer a couple of comments on the proposal that you are considering decking the plan for a roundabout. For the sake of the public understanding, that means that a decision that has no environmental impacts. Sometimes I wonder if the Town Board actually reads any of its long-range planning documents, like the comprehensive plan, and other documents on roadways where a priority in East Hampton has been stated to promote connectivity and availability for bikers and hikers and pedestrians. And this location where you're talking about installing a roundabout is a very active location for both bikers and pedestrians and hikers. And a roundabout is distinctly focused on automobiles. It's almost impossible to make it safe for bikers and hikers, which should be a consideration. Secondly, it contradicts your energy sustainability goals because walking and biking are both key elements looking to the future of what kind of town we want. And I wonder why you haven't sent this to your Energy Sustainability Committee for their comments, although I am aware that on the Senior Center, Kate Rogers, I believe, advised them that they had no business submitting any comments to the Town Board, which is inaccurate and not why they are set up. So energy goals, very important, being ignored. Third thing is the Long Lane view shed was protected by the town of East Hampton. It's a local area of scenic significance. Don't think there's been much consideration of that. And in addition, this reminds me, this is why I think your motto should be ready, fire, aim. I don't see that there was ever any discussion of data on accidents or traffic in this area that justify, spending upwards of whatever it is, $1 million on this project. It just doesn't seem like the board. It seems like the board is doing what it always does, making up its mind and going forward with a decision without much forethought. And lastly, I don't understand how you can have a couple of work sessions to discuss an idea at which the public cannot really engage you and discuss the issue. You can do what I'm doing. You can call for 3 minutes. And then move forward with the most important step in moving a project forward, which is issuing a negative declaration saying there are no impacts, when you've never had a public hearing on this. But to my knowledge, I'm not aware of any real public hearing where you engaged and heard what people thought about turning the town step by step into Riverhead. A roundabout's the wrong idea. Your highway superintendent, I might add, back when I was on the board, suggested making it a four-way stop, and I understand he made the same recommendation recently when you brought this up for discussion. But apparently you think it's not important to listen to the highway superintendent. But, where's the public on this? Where's the public input on this? Where's the study that should precede any action? And another suggestion I have, if you visit the foreign country called Sagaponack, they did a great job of putting in speed bumps in a way that you can actually still plow the roads. Very interesting design. What we should be doing for the people that use Stephen Hand's Path is doing something to make them slow down. You live out in East Hampton. I've timed how long it takes on a peak summer day to get through that intersection, and it's shockingly short. What people need to do is slow down, take a deep breath, and look to the right down Long Lane in that beautiful scenic vista without having infrastructure and a welter of signs that tell you which way to go. This is a bad idea. It needs more study. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason, is there anyone else on the line that would like to address the board?
We have no other callers on the line.
Paul?
My name is Paul Fiandella. Just to Jeff's comment about the roundabout idea, there was a bicycle committee in the town for a number of years, and we did look at some of these things. And one of the things that's been done in other places is to, you put a crosswalk before the roundabout on all four entrances into the roundabout, and mark that well, and, you know, with the kind of, flashing whatever to warn the drivers that there is a crosswalk there. And that way there, the bicyclists and the pedestrians don't have to actually enter into the crosswalk. They can cross before it, and the motorists will slow down because they see there's a crosswalk and that they'll see people trying to get across it. And I believe in New York State, there's a law that if there is a crosswalk across the highway and somebody's in it, you have to stop. So that's one way to handle that problem. But I didn't come here to discuss that. I came here to discuss the senior center. Earlier this month, I was invited by Massachusetts Institute of Technology to participate in a research program between their Center of Aging and some of the other departments. And basically, the room was filled with postdoctoral candidates, various graduate students looking for projects, and a number of researchers, including from the Boston area, some people who were deeply involved in solving the problems of aging with reputations associated therewith, such as one woman who was responsible for developing cooperative senior housing in the Boston area, which was very successful and became the basis for a number of other projects throughout the United States. What there wasn't in the room was anybody from a welfare department. And the reason for that is really quite simple, that the problems of the aging in the United States by people who are seriously involved in doing research about this are not welfare problems. They're resource problems. They're the same category of problems as you have with educating students. You have a certain amount of resources in a society and you have to decide where to put them. And because the problem of the aging is so well developed in our country at this time, you have twice as many people over the age of 65 in this town as you do under the age of 18. So this conference was to bring together our artificial research people from the computer community and put them together with the aging community, try to figure out how are we going to handle this huge resource problem. Now, when we look at our senior center, you have that senior center under the rubric of the East Hampton Welfare Department. The offices there, you have 3 offices set aside for the welfare department. And that isn't the approach that you know, people who have been studying this for many years are taking. You're doing something here which is, it might have been relevant in the 1960s, but it isn't relevant when you have such a huge number of people aging. And that is not a welfare problem. That's a medical problem. It's a resource problem. It has its own category of solutions and problems. And what we were all trying to do in the room was to develop ways in which artificial intelligence could be used to enable people to live in place, to age in place, because that's the cheapest way to handle the aging problem. Now, the center that you're developing, unfortunately, it's going to lack a lot of these resources. And what worries me about it, I know I've proposed before an integrated approach of housing, senior services, nutrition resources. The senior center fits into that, but it's only one component. But what worries me is this, that you're not going to approach this problem from the right angle, and it's going to overwhelm you. And when it overwhelms you, you're going to fight for those resources with other communities. The simplest example is nursing homes and assisted care facilities. If you get to the point where you haven't kept people as healthy as you can, as long as you can, and you have to start figuring out, well, what are we going to do about these people? Where are we going to put them? Then you're going to come into conflict with all the other communities in this area, all of whom are farther along this track than you are. And I would be very afraid to be living in East Hampton and get to the point where I needed assisted living, because you'll have to leave this community and you'll have to go pretty far away. You might have to go to Georgia or where you have relatives in another state. And that is not what we really should be doing when we have 22% of our community over the age of 65. So my suggestion with the senior center is you had a couple of good ideas that came from some people in Amagansett who were, saying, hey, this is going to come into our hamlet. You better do something for us. What we're doing with aging people today is we're almost going back to the basics. There's no pill you're going to take to get through aging, but there are certain resources. Nutrition, which we do a very good job of here in East Hampton. Exercise, which keeps you mobile and functioning. And adequate medical care. Knowing what is happening to a person because they're socially interacting with their peers, and therefore somebody knows when something isn't right and something should be looked at. So you have to take another look at this senior center. I personally think you should take the welfare department and put it closer to the hospital annex over here. You only have 3 people in that department. You could find space for them that would be more centrally located to where the research is going to be used. You have an office in there for, I don't know, some kind of community liaison person to the aging. I would suggest instead that what you start looking for is somebody who has a background in handling senior centers and administering them, a professional who's been involved in this field for a long time, and you put them in there. And that way you have somebody who is devoted to senior services who can interact with these kinds of resources rather than the welfare department. And the last thing about this that you've got to understand is that this is a wealthy community, but we all get old. It's not a welfare problem. And if you say to people, oh, if you use a senior center, you must need help of some kind financially. You're on welfare. I mean, I hate to bring it up this way, but this is the real world that we live in. They're not going to use it. Okay? They'll stay in their own houses. They will not cook their own meals. They will get into more medical problems and difficulties because they don't want to be characterized as a welfare recipient. I'm sorry, that's the way it is.
We need you to wrap up, please.
Right. So please look at this project again. You need to have the ability to put more recreation in there to keep younger elderly people active. You need to have possibly a nurse's office in there with a visiting nurse on occasion, but you don't need to put the welfare department there, and you should not turn this into a welfare center. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Okay, so we're going to get on with our topics.
Sorry.
No worries. So first up, we have Kim Shaw presenting on the Town Hall charging station update. Welcome, Kim.
Good morning. Just trying to get the PowerPoint up.
Sure. You're good.
Okay. Let me just there. Right.
Yeah, you've got full screen, so you're
But
on the title slide.
Probably your space bar would advance it, or one of the arrows.
not happening.
Let me get Patrick back.
So there were 2 options for sharing the screen, and I think we selected the wrong one.
We're getting the full screen share. Can you move the mouse a little bit for me? All right, so you have the mouse on there. Do me a favor, just click on your slide.
The bottom right, bottom center, you'll see.
Patrick
Oh, yeah,
is
there it
coming
is.
back in.
The slides won't advance, Patrick. Something.
Okay, never mind.
Great.
So I'm here today to just give a recap on a grant that we got
Could you
in
just
March
pull,
of-
I'm sorry, Kim, if you could pull that closer. There we go. Thanks.
So I'm just going to give a recap of a grant that we were awarded from New York State DEC in 2020, in March of 2020, for $250,000. The grant was from a municipal zero emission vehicle, or ZEV infrastructure grant from the state. And we're ready to go to bid. We have the bid documents ready. We're just trying to pick a date. We are going to be purchasing the infrastructure from a state grant, saving us additional monies. So the bid will actually be for installation of the structures and wiring. So I'll just give a quick overview. Everyone knows the state has been recognized, East Hampton has been recognized by the state and other municipalities as a leader in energy sustainability for our renewable energy goals, climate emergency declaration, and our work to address greenhouse gas emissions from the transportation sector, which is New York's largest source of emissions. In 2020, to that note, the town board adopted a fleet efficiency policy to ensure continued electrification of the town fleet. We've also established a network of EV charging stations available both for the fleet, the town fleet, and the public use. So those are level 2 chargers here in the parking lot in Amagansett and back of the business district, and we have DC fast charging stations off of South Elucid in Montauk. And the fast chargers were a gift from Electrify America and Tesla. So everyone knows, I think, that the parking lot in this particular piece of property is divided between village and town lands. So we've relocated the charging stations totally within town land on the western portion of the lot. Let's see. I don't know why this is not working. All right.
Can you try the right arrow just on your keyboard? Does that work? Or no?
Yeah.
There you go.
So, okay. So the secondary benefit of doing the EV chargings is the fees that we collect from all the charging stations. This is a little weird. It's got the third and fourth quarter of last year and the first quarter of this year. It's not a tremendous amount of money, but on average, we're about $4,000 to $5,000 a year. So this is a bird's eye view of the project on the town hall campus, just giving everybody some bearings where we are. And this is a close-up of the actual layout. What we might be doing as a slight modification is on that northern portion of the parking lot, we have existing charging stations, which are not in great shape. So we're thinking of actually extending, shifting some of the charging stations to the 4 spots right there on the northern half. So, like I said, we're ready to go to bid, and we're purchasing the units through New York State and saving some money. So it's a pretty good project. It's been a long time coming to bear, just because once we got the contract from the state, we had to, signatory and all of that, and then we had to go to engineering to actually design the electrical component of it and make sure that it was sufficient so that the charging stations could be expanded if we needed to do that in the future.
Kim, can you just go back to one page to the map? So it's, because it's different than what we have in our PowerPoint.
Oh, sorry.
So it's all along.
There's going to be 10 stations, with they're dual ports, so there'll be 20 charging stations in 10 spots.
Got it.
And Kim, could you just, again, this is for public use, but also we have electrified our fleet. So we will also be using these charging stations
Yes,
for all of our fleet vehicles that are electrified as well.
yes, it's a dual benefit, and we have to have these charging stations open to the public because we accepted New York State funding.
So are we then displacing the Hampton Hopper? Are they going to have to park somewhere else in that, because they're usually in that,
Those last two.
Northwest
So this is
corner.
just showing the underground transmission, but
Okay.
it's only going to be 10 spots. So it's a little confusing in that it shows the whole area. We only are taking 10
okay.
parking spots. And then each spot will be able to service 2 vehicles. And like everywhere else we have electric charging stations, it's not dedicated to EV charging only. Anybody can park there. It's just, it's not solely for electric cars. And we made that very clear when we established the EV charging in Montauk, because that's a tiny lot and it gets very crowded. So we made sure that it's open for anybody to park there.
So are we then are we removing then the current ones?
The current ones need to be replaced. So we're going to take some of those 10 and put them in
Okay. So it'll be more like an L shaped.
more like an L shape. And that just happened. Our contract with the company that was servicing the units on the northern side expired. And the units that we're getting from the state are higher quality. They don't have a very long life, unfortunately. When we did the first 4 installations, this is the second time we've replaced the charging units. They're just getting better and better. So the first one, the cords always hung off on the ground and got run over. These are retractable. Now the new ones that we're going to be getting from the state are even better and have warranties built in with them, where in the past we had to have a separate warranty for O&M on them, which cost us more. So this is a better package all around.
And they'll be faster charging?
No, they're still going to be level 2.
Okay.
Is there the possibility of any fast charging ones, or no? Would that be a different entity to put those in?
We don't have the infrastructure set up for the DC fast chargers like we do in Montauk. That was a whole additional transformer that we needed there to, so no, I don't believe we're going to be doing that unless we get a tremendous amount of money. The fast chargers are $100,000 to start,
Yeah, and the infrastructure
and the infrastructure that's
expensive.
used to power them.
Are we able to, with this, also update the chargers in the Amagansett parking lot?
So those are fairly new, but we haven't had any issues like we've had here. So we're not planning on replacing them, but that will probably be something in the next couple years. But there's always these grants available from the state, so I'm not really worried about finding a funding source if we do need to replace them. So this project is going to tie in with the Build Ready program that we're also doing with NYSERDA, where we're looking to build more solar on this property. We were hoping that we could tie in and have these chargers totally off the grid and have solar panels, but everything didn't mesh exactly the right way. But so this is going to be part of a larger town hall campus change where we're going to be doing some carports potentially in the back.
So the final layout, I guess, is that we have to wait until we've awarded the bid and we're working with the installer.
So that the bid documents will go out showing the replacement and this array moving over to the 4 on the northern portion. And we'll make sure that there are that's just an underground transmission, but the hopper will still have those 2 spots.
Okay, beautiful.
And sorry, how long is the warranty on these state ones, you know?
I don't know, but it's better than what we had before. I think it's 3 years.
That includes the software updates? Because that was something we had to do with the older ones too. Once
The
software-
cloud. We need to have a cloud so that everyone
Yeah.
can charge there. And so that'll be another cost. But hopefully we can tie that into the grant for the cost savings by purchasing from the state contract.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Sure.
Appreciate the update.
And I have one more question, Kim. The level 2 charging versus fast charging, in real terms, like a regular car, what would level 2? Is that like a 12-hour charge, a 24-hour charge to get full, or?
Kate can answer. She's got an electric car.
Sorry.
And so does Tom.
Well, I have an electrical vehicle too. I just embarrassingly don't know. If I get level 2 or what.
When you do public charging, you're not trying to go to full. You're just trying to get, I charge, at first I went to the fast chargers out in Montauk every time I needed a charge because it was so quick and I can go to the Good and get something to eat and it all worked out. But then after time, I realized it's just much better for me with a regular level 1, plug it in like a toaster or a fan into a regular outlet and charge at home and charge overnight. So I really would use these types of chargers. You've come here for the day, you've gone on a trip. That's why the ones in the Amaganza parking lot are great because people plug in, then they go to lunch, and then you could get 7 miles, 14 miles of additional charge. So I don't think folks traditionally, except for us, for the fleet, we would do overnight charging on the level 2. It's much faster than my level 1, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, to speak to your point, 2% to 100% on my truck on a level 2 takes about 8 hours.
Okay.
So for someone commuting to town to work, these would be great. They could plug in all day and,
And also for our fleet overnight, we'll give them a 100% charge. But for the public, it depends on how much you need, how long you're gonna.
So we see all the receipts for everyone that's charging there. We have a dashboard that tracks it. And I've never seen a bill like over $10 for an individual charge.
It's grabbing, it's like going to a gas station and putting 10 miles, $10 in, $20.
Thank you. It turns out I have a level 2 charger and I learned something every day.
You have a level 2
works.
at home?
At work.
At
They have
work?
different work.
I'm going to come and charge by you.
And just to myself, I know this has been a project that's been coming, I think Severo, when you started working on it maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
2020.
Yeah.
Presented this in 2020.
But since then, to meet the roadmap that we're looking to do for the town of East Hampton, actually, we've been able to change over a lot of our fleet right now, adding it either into code enforcement. Now aquaculture's got an electric Silverado, highway's got electric Silverado, buildings and grounds, parks has actually custodial vans on there. We're seeing it more and more departments right now, so we need to have that infrastructure to charge it because it is the town board's initiative to change over the fleet when we have the availability of the equipment to change over. As far as the Hampton Hopper, we might be able to look even over closer to the backside over by Justice Court also. But again, it's a long time coming. I thank you and your staff for working on it.
Thank you, Kim.
Thanks, Kim.
All right, next up, we have Katie Casey, the Executive Director of East Hampton Housing Authority. She's going to give us an update on the 3 Mile Harbor Affordable Apartments Project. And she's joined by 2 commissioners. Marion Zucker is here, as is Bryony Frazier. And we, thankful for you to come and support Katie as she has some exciting news.
Yes, indeed. I want to first thank you for inviting me to this meeting. The timing is serendipitous. Just gonna, because I'm running my own tech. How we looking?
Not there
Not
yet.
so far. Just screen. So there should be a share screen button on Zoom for you. Bottom of the screen, it's a green box with an arrow.
Jason, do you need to open the presentation on the screen first?
No. Well, no. First thing, I mean, you could do that, but the key part for the share is simply just the sharing of the screen itself.
Yeah, I like to open it up so you can see it when you screen share.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Yeah, but Hey, there we go. And why don't we do me a favor? Why don't we hit the slideshow? I think that there's one right there. Let's see. I think it's nope, not that one. Oh yeah, there you go. Play from the beginning. Wait, do me a favor. I think it's on 2. Hit the
You got to
display setting.
Display.
So you see this says
Yeah, it's on the
display setting?
top.
That's okay. Right there. Bring in the digital native.
It's on the top, Patrick, where it says display settings,
Yeah.
all the way on the top of the screen. There you go.
Perfect.
All right,
There we go.
we're in business.
Okay. Thanks again for inviting us here. Two commissioners are here today. We have been working, as you know, for approximately 4 years on 50 rental apartments on 3 Mile Harbor Road. They have been named The Green at Gardener's Point as a nod to an historical reference that was called the Gardener's Point there, also known as Soak Hides or Tan Bark. It's all the same area. And it's not advancing, sorry.
Try the cursor.
There we go. So you'll see here on the map, this is in what's referred to as East Hampton North. It's not in one of the hamlets. It's serviced by the East Hampton Fire Department and Ambulance Corps. It's on the northwest corner of the sand mine between 3 Mile Harbor, Springs Fireplace Road, and to the north, the boundary is Harbor View Road. On the map, you'll see a relatively large pink area that is Bistrian sand. And then just to the northeast of that, a yellow, this is coded by land use, long, thin rectangular strip, that is the property. It was 2 lots that were consolidated. So it's 50 apartments, 10 one-bedroom, 32 bed, 10 3-bed. The income cap is 60% of area median income. 8 apartments are set aside for Section 8 project-based subsidy, which is 30%. So there are 2 income levels. And 1 apartment is reserved for a resident manager. There will be an on-site management office. So what the heck is AMI? So this AMI and FMR are acronyms that are frequently thrown out there. Area median income is calculated annually. It is published by HUD. Different income levels are for different funding sources, different properties that are endeavoring to meet the needs of a specific segment, a specific cohort. Anybody can look this up. This is public information, huduser.gov. You select the state and the county, and then you pull up whatever data set you want. 60% income limits are published here on the chart on the right side. So because the largest apartment is 3-bedroom, the highest annual gross income would be for a family of 6, and that's $108,720. FMR refers to fair market rents and again, this is calculated annually in the zip code of 11937, where this property is located. Fair market rent for a 3-bedroom is $4,080. The Gardener's Point rent for a 3-bedroom is $2,045. The household has to pay their own electric, but water, sewage, garbage, snow removal, groundskeeping is all included in that rent of $2,045. This project is a $32 million project, give or take. The construction phase is financed with construction loans, construction financing, and then all properties are converted. We go through a conversion where we lock into permanent financing. On the left is construction, on the right is permanent. town of East Hampton donated $25,000 way back when, I guess it was 2020, as seed money to get the ball rolling. The county contributed, the state contributed, and there is tax credits, which is equity in the financing, both construction and permanent, of this property. So it's a public-private partnership. These projects don't get done without the participation of a professional developer. And generally speaking, you need seed money in order to kick it off. This is a great photo. It's from left to right. We've got the county, the modular company, Georgia Green Ventures, Housing Authority, the state commissioner, the developer, Georgia Green, town councilperson, state assemblyman, county legislator, and another East Hampton Housing Authority board member. So that's, it's a good representation of the administrative side of what it takes to get this done. The developers, Georgia Green Ventures, we partnered with them on Gansett Meadow. And again, here on 3 Mile Harbor, it's worth noting that this project is a little bit different. With Gansett Meadow, the Housing Authority purchased the property with bonds and then put the financing together and then brought on the co-developer. In this instance, Georgia Green Ventures purchased the property. They used their own private capital to purchase the property, get it going, and then got the award from the state for the tax credits and housing trust fund, and also from the county for acquisition. The architects are SBJ Group. The modular company is Simplex Homes. They build the boxes and finish the interiors, mostly. 2 engineering firms, most involved R&M, mostly for site work, and Ventrop for some interiors with energy benchmarks, Energy Star, Green Homes, all of the utility consumption that goes into the construction to conserve, to make the buildings as energy efficient as we can with the resources we have. So here's a very broad overview. March 2020, the property was rezoned thanks to the town board with an affordable housing overlay. Roughly that same time, Georgia Green Ventures began the architecture and engineering, June 21. We received local approvals from Planning Board and ARB. December, the property was purchased by Georgia Green Ventures. March, we received word from the state that the project was awarded funding. August 22nd, groundbreaking. September, the boxes began to arrive, because the one thing about modular is the boxes, which are the buildings themselves, can be constructed while the site work is being done. So very shortly after we had the groundbreaking, these big boxes began arriving on trailers. May, just this month, the utilities, water and electric, are completed. And in August, tenant selection begins. And that rock, incidentally, there were some surprises on the site. It's worth mentioning.
That is a surprise.
That rock is no less than 18 feet in any dimension.
Oh my.
The heavy-duty excavator broke twice trying to relocate that. We decided simply to bury it and leave it where we found it. So this ad is going to come out in Thursday's paper. This is the official state-approved ad copy for this project. I'd like to point out that the income guidelines and the number of people, it is just that, a guideline. I I can't stress enough, I don't want anybody to self-disqualify or look at this and say, oh, no, we're ineligible, we're not going to get in. I would encourage anyone who would benefit potentially to apply. This is going to start a wait list. Yeah, a household, an applicant might be offered an opportunity to rent in 4 months, or it could be 4 years. Things change. That's the one thing we know is things change. Get in there, submit the application, get in the wait list, whether it's for immediate opportunity or an opportunity down the road. And that is the last slide. This is contact information. I'm happy to announce that as of today, the applications are available. We have the go-ahead from New York State to release the applications and begin the process of creating, a list for tenancy on August 2nd here in this room, and also televised live on LTV and the YouTube channel. We'll have the drawing, which determines the order in which the applications are considered for tenancy. It's often referred to as a lottery. I don't love the word lottery because it sounds like people win something. And they may feel like they've won something, but it's really just to order the applications. It's required by the state and the tax credit allocation to ensure fairness, that everybody has an equal chance. It's just a random shuffling. So all the applications come in, they get serial numbered, date stamped, and then the deadline for applications is July 20th. At that point, we will continue to accept applications. However, any application received after 4 p.m. on July 20th will not be included in the drawing, and those applications will be added in chronological order to the end of the list drawn on August 2nd. I also want to point out we need to receive original applications in hard copy with an original signature from at least one adult, one applicant. All applicants should sign all adults need to sign the application as well. We are making them available on our website, on the town's website. It'll be on OHCD's page. It'll be maybe on the clerk's site. I did bring some hard copies. We can make them available at the clerk's office. So we're going to get them out there virtually and also snail mail. We must receive an original copy. It can be hand-delivered or mailed to our P.O. Box 2106 in East Hampton.
What are your office hours there, Katie?
9 to 4. And that's 316 Accabonac Road, at the Accabonac Apartments, just behind Family Service League. So I'm very excited. Today's the day.
This is big news.
Yeah.
Very excited. And I've had the extraordinary pleasure to be able to tour with the commissioners. They're really, they're big windows, nice appliances and tiling and whatever. They're really very well done, spacious closets. And we're here.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So do you have an anticipation for when the move-in date would be, so that folks that are applying have an idea of, how long they'll need their current housing arrangement for?
We're making every effort to get households in at the beginning of the school year. The drawing is August 2nd. The absolute quickest we can determine eligibility is probably 2 weeks. My advice to applicants is to, on the application, the last page says additional documentation that'll need to be submitted to determine eligibility. So that last page is a guideline. Anybody who submits an application should take a look at that start to gather those documents, pay stubs or direct deposit, bank statements. Many folks don't get hard copy bank statements anymore. They use online banking, download those, keep them handy, start collecting the documentation. After August 2nd, if an applicant has all of their documents in order, we can make a determination within a week. We have to third-party verify their income. So there's administrative stuff that has to happen in between the drawing and offering tenancy, but a ready, well-prepared applicant is going to get a decision much more quickly. Mm-hmm.
So just speaking of this, I remember a CHOF meeting, and one of the CHOF recommendations, Community Housing Opportunity Fund that the town had years ago when I first came on the board, they stated that it would typically take about 6 years from a purchase property to keys in the door. By that time frame, you did it in less than, with a third less time frame, and 2/3 of that time frame in 4 years on a major project of one of the largest affordable housing units that the town's ever seen on there then too. So I think that's kudos to the East Hampton Housing Authority, finding a vendor that can build this and putting a pathway forward through collaboration that just absolutely works. I pass by it on a daily basis. There's been hiccups, ups and downs to the construction project. You learn, you've been able to listen to the town board, to the residents in the area on there. You got out in front of it. A long time in front of it, Katie, as far as the neighbors on there. I know you're still planning a robust plantings in the area then too. And it's again, another milestone day for the all hands on housing that the town of East Hampton and this board really wants to push forward. And I look forward to many more of these then too. But, to see a time frame on that, working municipality or any large entity out there, to be able to slash that time frame by a third, well done.
Thank you. That is due to the commitment of the commissioners, making a decision, being decisive and taking action, working with the town, having the cooperation of planning, ARB, building department, fast tracking affordable housing applications, and certainly the developer partner, having relationships with the state, knowing these funding applications, which are mind-bogglingly complicated, and having the juice, frankly, to get it done. So, we have an excellent partner. Georgia Green Ventures has never let us down. They produce a great product, and it's been such a good partnership. The communication, cooperation, that's what makes it go quickly. And private-public is the way to get it done.
So Katie, we can talk offline about ways that the town can help you get the word out. We can use our social media, our website. Happy to do that. So do board members have any other questions?
No, I'd say just congratulations and thank you to yourself and the commissioners for bringing this project to this point in time. You understand the need, and it requires citizens like you to actually help address these problems. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, and we look forward to the next project.
Thank you, Katie.
Yeah, it's already in the works, I promise.
You're going to need a lot of coffee. These next few months are going to be busy.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Katie.
Thank you. Okay, so that's our agenda for today. So we now have liaison reports. Tom, you want to start us off?
Thank you. Yes. I'm again to the advisory committee. Our next meeting is June 9th at 6:30 p.m. Kevin Cooper from Ordnance will be the guest speaker for that. Human Services, just want a reminder to residents that Ashwag Hall classes are canceled for Wednesday, May 22nd, and there is no lunch or classes at the Senior Center on Monday, May 27th, as we're closed for Memorial Day. We will be doing on Thursday, June 27th, a hurricane preparedness talk through to the senior residents at the Senior Center as well.
Can I just add one thing to that? I know we had a speaker today that was talking about not necessarily welfare, but other ways as far as aging in place and such. And the town has actively been engaged and outreached by facility companies that's their business is in assisted living. And a lot of that had to come down to getting a greater amount of density into some of these senior projects on there, which the town board, Ian, you're moving forward on, because there is a business model to it. The town boards have been actively looking at it. We'll continue to look at all of the factors that is included in living in East Hampton, aging in place, assisted living facilities, and doing so. So it's not that I don't disagree with what the speaker was saying. I want him to, I want everyone to recognize that the town board is cognizant of that and has been actively engaged in working through that also as we still continue to work towards the senior center. So excuse me for.
Yeah, no, I listen.
If I just may, further to that, since we're talking about it, I was just a little confused. I didn't know what the welfare department was. We don't have one, so I didn't know what the speaker was referring to. So I'm glad that you spoke about it, Tom and David. And so that was just my only comment. I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah, no, I'm just.
We don't have a department.
No, we have a human services department. And I think, one thing to call out with all these classes and what wasn't mentioned earlier, but I think it's important to highlight what human services achieves, is that for many of our seniors, the biggest threat they are facing to their health is mental health from loneliness. And the service that provides to so many seniors in this community through these different classes and events is absolutely critical. And we have a wonderful department that does that. So liaison report, Bagner, any other comments on that? Or?
No, I'm sorry to interrupt you. But,
no. East End Fire Commissioners, we will have a meeting on May 28th in Bridgehampton. Disability Advisory Board, we have a new website in construction at this point. We will also be taking any input from community members as to what they might like to see on there. Anti-Bias Task Force, a reminder again that Pride Parade is June 1st and Wednesday, May 29th is the last day to sign up to be in the parade. The website to do so is hamptonspride.org. Arts Council Committee meeting, next meeting is Monday, June 3rd at 5 p.m. Business Committee, next meeting is June 9th. Joe Palermo from Building Department will hopefully be our guest speaker at that. And then finally, emergency preparedness. We continue to delve into the different aspects of that. Right now, there is a huge focus on the education piece that's been identified as the committee area that they would most like to address. So we'll be putting out website updates in the coming future, as well as a new pamphlet.
Great, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Tom and myself sat in a meeting with Fred Thiel and John Bouvier from the governor's office to discuss trying to get additional funding and assets for the southern pine beetle infestation, specifically the Knott Peak stretch. This would include everything from DOT, DEC that we had on the call, MTA, about trying to clear those areas of the right-of-way so it makes it safe for pedestrians and also for motorists, but also then including looking at the fire loads that are there within that area. And I know Tom's been actively working on that with the fire commissioners and such. So I wanted to thank the governor's office, Mr. Bouvier and Fred, Assemblyman Thiel, for continuing that conversation as we've had multiple ones recently then too. There's been a lot of work done, still a lot of work to be done. And we understand that it's a regional issue, and you can see that all the way up to Brookhaven then too. We're not the only township now, even though maybe we were one of the first. I'm pretty much solely focused on getting the town ready for beaches for the summer season. It is Memorial Day weekend. It's finally feeling a little bit like summer right now. With that is we've also introduced a new department head into, his name's Steve O'Brien. He'll be taking over for Tony Littman in the Buildings and Grounds Department. He came on yesterday. We welcome Steve wholeheartedly, but also working with the crews to get ready for the beaches. This includes the lifeguards, repainting the stands yesterday, and then also from Buildings and Grounds, getting the fences from the FEMA project. Bathrooms are being prepared, custodial staffs, along with TCO. So I want to thank all the town's departments for getting ready, and then also for the residents to hopefully enjoy a wonderful summer upcoming. Along with that, the town is still hiring. We're hiring lifeguards and also hiring for seasonal employees in the Buildings and Grounds Department, also the Recreational Department. If anyone has any thoughts or questions would like to join up, please contact our Human Resources Department, Kathleen Rude, on there then too. I want to let everyone know about aquaculture. We've had a tremendous amount of rain last week, nearly about 5 inches of rain that was there. And what happens is that we get seasonal aquaculture closures, and some of them are still closed right now. John Barley Dunn, the head of aquaculture, sent this out to the gardeners, but there are a lot of resident users. So at our last count, pretty much in the town of East Hampton, Northwest, Cedar Point, 3 Mile Harbor, Hall Creek, Accabonac Harbor, including all the tributaries, are still closed. If you have any questions or you want to find out when they will be open, you can look at the DEC, dec.ny.gov/outdoor/7765 HTML. That's where that DEC website will have information about the shellfish openings. But again, you also can call 631-444-0492. Part about that is with the rain gauges that are out on Accabonac, on Laos, there was 2.37 inches of rain on one day. The next rain gauge, last time I looked at it, was about 1.47. There was a tremendous amount of volume of flooding in every area of the town of East Hampton. You drive out to the stretch right now, there's perched water everywhere right now. There's clay lenses that water is just flooding over. Drainage systems aren't made for that type of capacity, and the ground is saturated. So highway is out there doing the best work they can to clear any interruptions there, but also that amount of rain that we're seeing, I will say, through global warming right now and these bomb rainstorms right now, we are trying to address them through our critical drainage infrastructure, but our legacy drainage infrastructure right now can't meet that capacity. Mm-hmm. So we have to have a little patience on there. If you have any fears or concerns on there, please reach out to the fire department or PD if you can't get in and out of your house. But overall, these are situations that might be coming more often right now that we are addressing in our designs of our roadways, hence what we did on 114 in Stephen Hand's path or that drainage swale and other locations. We'll continue to do more. Moving on from there, the Water Quality Technical Advisory Committee met last week reviewing RFA 1. We also were discussing conversations that we had with the Peconic Estuary Program and their funding for the upcoming season. It was more of an exit conversation. We are also, that committee is also looking at updating the water quality project improvement plans based on a lot of the projects that we've already have completed, and then also ones that we might need to change based on the amount of rain we're getting, but also the needs and locations. Some of those locations, what you'll see on for me today, include bioswales that we have. We're going to see a change order for one of Sokides upcoming today. It's not the first one we've had, but there's so much rain that's coming in these locations that we have to redesign it for the torrents of rain because they blow them out a little bit. So that's one you'll see on there for today. I also want to let everyone know that there's minor inconveniences happening in North Main Street in downtown Montauk. Our contractors are working on our street beautification. I want to thank the town board for assisting that. You were a council member of Perkins all the time, but the supervisor worked with the East Hampton CAC about North Main Street in Montauk. Tom and I worked on working with ADA ramps and bricking certain areas with extra funding that we have for our streetscape. We'll continue to do so, but there's minor inconveniences, but pretty much by today, most of it should be complete, if not by tomorrow then too. We do have a couple of resolutions on today. One of the ones that was already discussed will be tabled. Those were resolutions 715 and 716. This is for the Stephen Hand's path and long lane roundabout. What I do have to say is, yes, the information in the EAF was not uploaded to the system, but that will be on for on June 6th on there. That was correct. But in that EAF, everything that some of these commenters that were residents were calling in was discussed. As it also was discussed, there's a couple inconsistencies in some of these discussion points. The superintendent of highways does support this project. He actually made these comments in 2019, in June 2019, that he supported the roundabout on these locations. So that is that is incorrect on there. There also were more comments made by one of the callers in October of this year, and those were personal comments, but right after that, 3 neighbors came in immediately there and stated their full support. Neighbors in that location, those are sometimes individuals we learn to because they use it every day on there. We also had traffic engineers come in October of 2023 for this presentation. I will resend to the new board members also. Part of that also has an increased road width there, as you can see, for bikers, because that is part of the Empire State Biking Plan and through the biking committee that was through years ago that would come from 114 over Stephen Hand's Path and then down Long Lane. Now, they are going to be increased road widths to be able to give access for safer areas for bikers and pedestrians. One of the pedestrians that you will see there for the last 35 years is a dentist in town, works downtown East Hampton. Very close, his daughter and I went to school together. He walks to work every morning, every evening through there. And through those discussions on there, he understands the need for it and that actually that any improvement there is better than what it is there now. A second one is there was never a discussion for a roundabout at the intersection of Old Northwest Stephen Hand's Path. That was for a pilot program of one-way street. So that's another inconsistency in some of the comments that we've seen today. I'm still a firm supporter of it. We will correct those resolutions and get them offered at a later time. So I apologize to the board for that.
Can I just add something to that again? Because I was, there's a roundabout, a mile down the road, half mile down the road, that's been functioning for quite some time, handling a very dangerous corner in the town, but I believe it's in the village. But it's quite close to that one. I use that one frequently, and it certainly is quite an improvement than having to guess who goes first in that dangerous triangle type intersection that used to exist there, if anybody remembers that.
5 corners.
Yeah, 5 corners.
Recall it. Also, what we have, sorry.
I'm
Yes,
sorry.
please.
I just want to say, Councilman Leach, thank you for saying that about that resolution, because obviously it's a major project. I believe I'm supportive, but I also think it's appropriate to take the other step to, hear feedback. It doesn't have to happen tomorrow. And so I think that you made it a lot easier for me instead of just offering the resolution to ask for discussion. I'm actually a neighboring property owner. I do know that that's a problematic intersection for sure. I drive through it all the time. But anyway, just thank you for pausing, opening it up to the public, and I look forward to the discussion going forward.
And what we'll do is we'll have planning bring the EAF to the work session on June 4th, so that we'll go through it publicly, and then we can vote on the bond on the 6th.
No problem at all. That's absolutely fine. We've heard from many in the public, actually supporters of it because of the dangerous areas.
As have I.
Yes, correct. I actually think before you were on the board a long time ago, reached out about.
Not that long ago.
Yeah, very true. About farm tractors getting through there.
Yeah.
Same things. We reached out to individuals that were in the fire department too. So moving on, you also see the grant that we discussed last week, intake grant that's on there today for the water quality project at the Route 27 rest stop in Wainscott in that area. And also, we're going to apply for another New York State drone for our lifeguarding course, same as we won last year then too.
Yeah, because as I understand it, they're sharing a drone between Amagansett and Montauk, and what you're looking to do is have a drone at each location.
In each district, yes, exactly. It's 2 separate districts, and hopefully we'll be successful at that. But again, that's another thing we're looking to do to assist with dangerous marine life observations and also our life-saving course then too. I want to thank the governor for putting that drone grant program up last year. Lastly, this is the same month last year, and it was Toon Han that I actually discussed. And that one, this is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. I don't know all times where these months come from, but I am Indonesian, if you don't know. So I am your Asian Pacific Islander, and I want to salute my father on this one. I know he's not here right now. My father came here in a freighter. He came out here in 1961, got married in 1969 to my mother at Sea Sprayen, and then actually went way out to Gurney's for their honeymoon. Successful business owner out here, just a lovely man. And he came over from a very bad time in Indonesia as the oldest son. And I salute my father that. And I had to do that at once because I never know if I'll have it done again. So that's all I have. I thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, David. Kate?
Yes, the Energy Sustainability Committee met yesterday, and we had a number of important topics. Let me just switch to that page. The Energy Sustainability Committee had reached out to some of my colleagues on the board regarding a year-round ban on gas leaf blowers, and it was suggested that they have an open invitation for folks who work in the industry, and they are working on putting that together with help from the Natural Resources staff. And now we have Samantha Shore, who we'd like to welcome to the liaison to the Energy Sustainability Committee from the Natural Resources Department. Where their discussion based on when do people have the time at this time of the year to attend a meeting like this when you're in services business. So they're trying to work all those fine details out, but they are planning a presentation with a meeting, an open meeting to talk about some of the things. And they would like to come in June to present to do a presentation on a year-round ban on gas leaf blowers. This is something that Southampton Village just passed, a year-round ban. So they would like to present to the town board as well and to the public for feedback from the public that way as well. We went over the Build Ready program that Kim spoke about that will increase our solar opportunities and our solar output. We had a discussion on CCA, which is community choice aggregation, something Southampton Town has been working on. We did receive information from the Town of Southampton Energy Sustainability Committee, who we frequently go back and forth with, that the Public Service Commission has put a rule in place that's making it difficult for them to be able to have their program up and running, but we look forward to working out the glitches there and the best way, even though we would go out for RFP and take a look at this, but how the smaller municipalities are doing is they're joining together for one CCA. But as just like any kind of Costco shopping, the more you add in, the lower the cost. So we're still looking at that. We're waiting to see what happens there. They discussed the Skip the Stuff presentation from surf riders at Montauk. They're in full support of any kind of Skip the Stuff. Gloria Frise also announced that the easthamptoncompost.org program is up and running. And started last Saturday, and she's been working on that. We talked about the closing of the Brookhaven landfill and how this is going to impact the town, and actually all towns on Long Island, and how removing items from the waste stream even becomes more important as we face the closure of that landfill and the economic impacts that will happen to all towns in Suffolk County. And that came out of a roundtable, a summit that I had attended with David on behalf of the town, on behalf of the supervisor, and that is an ongoing issue as well that is taking up concern on many fronts. There's some local businesses that are also looking to become more sustainable and are looking for information on how to become zero plastic. Some of the restaurants, bars out in Montauk are looking for ways to be able to increase the amount of glasses that they have or the turnaround for washing, because that's one of the limiting factors when they have to turn to plastic cups. So they're looking for plastic shredders and ways to turn that into more recyclable waste. So I think this issue is becoming more and more on people's minds, and I'm finding that from the business community to our residents, people want to know how they can assist in reducing their waste stream. So we'll continue with that, working on that. They also would like to, as every other group is coming to us and saying what's going to happen with the South Fork Wind money, they would like to know, how if we've come up with a plan for how that's going to be used. And I informed them that I had asked the attorney's office to draft a public notice to adopt the roadmap. So the roadmap is one thing. Post the roadmap approval by the Energy Sustainability Committee, there was a new component discussed on roadmap app that helps with doing budgeting, but we've had a discussion, and we had a good discussion on how we budget and don't do 5-year, 6-year budget plans because of the nature of how a town budgets is a yearly budget, because we never know what's coming down the pike. We always have to review and then plan for that next year. But we do have long-term plans and capital projects that we can move forward on some of the goals of the roadmap. However, I have to say also that, replacing our fleet, adding more solar potential, community solar, all of these are in the roadmap and are already being worked on by the town. And the energy sustainability has had a hand in all of that. Just to clear up some misconception that a caller made about the energy sustainability and their input on the senior center, I guess the caller missed the time when the energy sustainability members actually came to the podium and spoke in favor of the net zero aspirations of the senior center, the geothermal, the solar canopies, the sustainable landscaping and lack of irrigation, controlling water use, and
All electric, and they were using induction cooking.
all electric, and especially if folks remember, maybe who weren't on the board, remember Lena specifically saying that it's such a great model to have an all-electric kitchen, and hopefully there can be cooking demonstrations. I don't know if that's possible, but in furthering the goals of all-electric across the board, they were in favor of anything that had to do with energy sustainability for the senior center. So I just want to remind folks if they missed that meeting, that is a misconception. The zoning code amendment work group met on Monday, and we're looking at the questions that the town board, my colleagues on the town board had, and also responding to the concerns from members of the public. They would like to come back in early June and have a second presentation answering those concerns, and also proposing to again, reiterate the code changes that we had consensus on, both here in the board and also in the community, such as separation to groundwater, et cetera. They're going to come back with the information on why that structural is sound. I did continue to do outreach to local architects and architectural groups and I've asked them to come back with a review, and if they see alternatives to what we propose, to offer them to us, and we would present them as well. So that's what's happening with the zoning code work group, and that is all I have.
Great, thank you, Kate. Ian?
Yes, the Parsons Blacksmith Shop in Springs near Ashwog Hall was open last Saturday for a demonstration, and it'll be open throughout the summer on June 15th, July 6th, August 3rd, and September 2nd. It's on Saturdays from 10 to 2. It coincides with the Springs Farmers Market as well, so I recommend everybody pop over there. I think it's easy to miss if you're not aware it's happening. But a lovely day to spend a Saturday in historic Springs. It's a really beautiful area with the library, the blacksmith shop, Ashwog Hall, Pussy's Pond. So I recommend, and I'll announce this again before the next one. There's a Spring CAC meeting tonight in the same area in Ashwog Hall, in fact, at 6 p.m. Those meetings are open to the public. The agenda today is on road safety, which has been a point of interest. The roundabout at Springs Fireplace and 3 Mile Harbor, which obviously is not in Springs but affects them, and pickleball courts. So anybody from the public, I know there's been interest in some of those topics, who wants to join, the Spring CAC is very open to all people who want to be helpful and contribute to Springs. Lastly, the CHAB meeting is the Community Housing Advisory Board meets here in this room tomorrow at 5 p.m. Those meetings are also open to the public. You've heard me say a few times how much I appreciate the work that committee does. And as a result of their work, we are ready to release an RFA for June 4th, tapping into the new housing fund that we have. And that RFA, request for applications, will be for all types of affordable housing. In addition to that, there'll be a first-time homeowners program that's released on the same date. More information will come from the town on both of those programs. Eric spoke about these a few weeks ago, or I guess 2 weeks ago. The third program, which is ADUs, which has been a topic of interest both locally and and regionally. That particular application will be postponed until August, but it is coming, support for those, for ADU installations. We are postponing it not because we aren't ready necessarily, but because we're trying to synchronize it with county funding to make it easier for applicants to understand what different types of funding are available and perhaps even pairing them together. So that's all I have.
Great, thank you. So I just wanted to touch base, the air traffic control tower at the East Hampton Town Airport began operation this past Sunday. The tower operates from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days per week. The helicopter noise abatement routes for 2024 have been reviewed by the operators and have been posted by the airport director to the town website. According to the posted routes, the Echo route is available for arrivals and departures connecting to the North Shore helicopter route. The November route is available only for arrivals from the South Shore helicopter route, and the Sierra route is available only for pilots requesting departures to the South Shore helicopter route, traffic permitting. The voluntary nighttime curfew is 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., and the FBO, which is sound aircraft, does not provide ramp services during those hours. We're going to be sending out a press release later this afternoon. Let folks know that the town of East Hampton is prepared for Memorial Day weekend. We're ready for the upcoming weekend, ensuring a safe and enjoyable experience for all residents and visitors. The East Hampton Town Police Department, Marine Patrol, Town Ordinance Enforcement, the Office of Fire Prevention, and the Town Parks and Recreation Department have thoughtfully planned and staffed shifts to provide comprehensive coverage throughout the holiday weekend. I also want to mention that just an update of the beaches that will have lifeguarded this weekend, beginning Saturday, May 25th. There will be Indian Wells, Atlantic Avenue, Kirk Park, and South Edison will have lifeguarded hours from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And Albert's Landing will have a lifeguarded hours from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. I just want to ask folks, if you experience a non-emergency related incident, please contact the East Hampton Town Police Department at 631-537-7575. What we found in years past is sometimes folks would email, the chief or town board members, after the weekend, and that doesn't allow us to address the issues and gain compliance in real time. We also have the Memorial Day Parade is this Monday at 10 a.m. It begins at the First Presbyterian Church on Main Street and continues to the Hook Windmill Monument. I'm hoping town board members will be joining us there. We typically stand right by London Jewelers and watch the parade go by and, express our appreciation and remember the sacrifice of so many women and men in service to our country. So now I guess next we have some resolutions to offer.
Did you just mention the rally last Friday?
Oh, no, I didn't. So board members went out to Hampton Bays to support the South Fork Coalition. We're looking for the MTA to put money in their capital budget to upgrade sidings and infrastructure for the Long Island Railroad. What we see is that we have to, many of our staff come from points west. They only have 2 trains in the morning and 2 trains in the afternoon. It's because the commute, particularly this time of year, is just exhaustive and stressful. And, there was a great representation there. Senator Anthony Palumbo, Assemblyman Fred Thiel. We had County Executive Ed Romaine, County Legislator Ann Welker, Tommy John Scavone, council member from Southampton, and Kate, myself, David, and Tom were all there in support. A number of us gave speeches and we rallied the troops, and this is going to be an effort that's ongoing. The capital plan, from what we understand, is going to be voted on in October. So it's going to be an effort to, really send the message to the MTA that, we really need their support while we're not Up Island, where they've servicing, you know, millions of folks. This is something that if we do not have folks that work points west, it could cripple us and we would not be able to offer the services that our residents come to expect. So,
Can I just add to that?
Yeah.
So Assemblyman Thiel said a couple of great things, and one of them was he believes, and I agree with that, it's one of the greatest infrastructure projects that can happen potentially on the South Fork. Next is if you have a cell phone, if you have a landline, you're already paying an MTA tax, even if you don't use it. So the MTA, we just don't ask for it, we demand that they put money back into the infrastructure on the South Fork of Southampton and East Hampton then too. So your words were quite on par, Supervisor, at that moment too. It was great. Thank you.
yeah, no, it was a great showing and there was a lot of press there and hopefully the MTA, you know, heard us. So now we have some board resolution. Go ahead.
I apologize. I was just notified that the CHAB meeting, the Community Housing Advisory Board, is canceled for tomorrow. Everything else I say is true, though. They're great. Happens on Wednesdays. You should come and participate next time.
Right. Everybody's getting ready for the big weekend.
Resolutions, I shall kick off with 2024-713. This is to authorize payment to Verizon for a 2023 invoice in the amount of $34.62.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
714 is for a payout upon resignation of Diana Giles. The amount to be paid out is, $75.82 in vacation time, $8.98 in compensatory time, and $833.33 for prorated healthcare opt-out incentive at the hourly rate of $23.94 for a gross total of $918.13.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to table resolution 2024-715 until June 6th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Like a motion to table resolution 2024-716 until June 6th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. It is my pleasure to offer resolution 2024-717. This is to appoint seasonal employee in the Parks Department, Manuel Gallegos at Groundskeeper 1 at $21 an hour.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
718 is a title change for lifeguards from May 2024. The names, titles, pay rates, and also retroactive timeframes listed below.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
719 is approve a change order number 3 for the Thermal Harbor stormwater project. This is to add plunge pools to this location. The change order request is the amount of $17,599.50.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
720 is to authorize a grant application to Suffolk County for the water quality PRP for Route 27 rest stop stormwater abatement project. And we are going to look for the maximum amount allowable at $250,000 for the project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. 721 is authorize a grant application to New York State Unmanned Aircraft Systems Program drone to be used by the lifeguards for public safety. Authorize for public safety to authorize the budget modification.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolution 2024-722, this is a budget modification for the tax receiver in the amount of $9,805. There is no net difference in the budget, it's just moving line items around, and this is for software and related costs of integration.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 723 is to increase the cap for Dan Ruzzo and Whiteman, Osterman, and Hannah as outside environmental counsel for SECRA. And this is to provide legal services related to environmental and governmental zoning matters to the Town Board, Planning Board, and Zoning Board of Appeals on an ad hoc and as-needed basis. And the cap will now constitute a total of $150,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Tom, you're up. We have additional resolutions on page 10.
Thank you. 724 is to amend resolution 605 for Fort Hill Cemetery. This is to change the retroactive date to January 1st, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I have resolution 725, and this is to accept a road
Road widening easement in URP 99 in East Hampton-2A. And this is pursuant to local law. The Town Board of East Hampton adopted urban renewal plans covering layout and improvements for old filed maps. Therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board approves and accepts these easements and directs the town clerk to return the easements to the grantor for recording in the Office of Suffolk County Clerk. The grantor is William and Linda Lafferty. It's, the property is located at 326, is that Town Line? Or Line Road?
That's where they live.
Oh, well, that's where they live, I'm sorry. Line Road in Kensett Square, Pennsylvania. It's a URL parcel 99 in EH2-A, map 284, Suffolk County Tax Act number is 0300-136-5-51.1, and the location of the property in East Hampton is Dayton Avenue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 726 is approval of special events permits for May, and this is resolved that the following gathering permits are hereby approved with the conditions agreed upon by the reviewing committee. First is for the Massapequa Park Bike Club Tour of the Hamptons, various routes. They will start at Southampton High School and end at Southampton High School on Sunday, September 22nd, 2024, between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. And the next is Leo Daunt for the Montauk Chamber of Commerce, Concerts on the Green. This is on the Montauk Green at 743 Montauk Highway, every Monday from 6:24 through 8:26, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
2024-727 is to authorize renewal of contract with Plain Noise, Inc. Plain Noise provides noise complaint management services for aircraft noise complaints, providing 24-hour monitoring and data management information that assists the town in identifying and collecting data on aircraft related to noise complaints and review of compliance with the town's noise abatement procedures. And this is at the new rate of $1,655 per month for East Hampton, plus the Montauk fee of $450 per month through March 31st, 2027.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have two walk-on resolutions. The first is ID 31178. This is a budget modification for the Ordinance Enforcement Department, and we're moving $1,550 from full-time salaries to equipment repair and maintenance in the same amount.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
ID 31179 is to authorize real property action against Flyblade, Inc. Whereas Flyblade, Inc. entered into a license agreement with the town of East Hampton beginning in 2016 to maintain a counter at the East Hampton Airport Terminal for the purpose of directing their customers to the appropriate arrival and departure for flight services. And whereas Flyblade, Inc. has approved the renewal of said license agreement with the town in 2019, 2020, and 2021, and whereas Flyblade, Inc. has failed to pay its annual license fee since January 1, 2021, and is now in arrears to the town in the amount of $186,354, and whereas Flyblade, Inc. was put on notice of the arrears by the town, and whereas the town attempted to reach an amicable resolution with Flyblade, Inc., but said attempt was not fruitful. Now therefore be it resolved, the town of East Hampton hereby authorizes the town of East Hampton to commence a real property action in the proper venue to terminate Flyblade, Inc.'s occupancy at the East Hampton Airport Terminal.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Tom, did you have one other announcement you wanted
Yes,
to make?
I did. May 19th to May 25th is National EMS Week, and we are incredibly fortunate in this town to have amazing ambulance volunteer companies in Montauk, Amagansett, Springs, and East Hampton. The amount of training and time these people commit to providing an incredible service to people in this town in their darkest hour is immense. And I just want to, on behalf of myself and the board, just thank the EMS volunteers we have in this community for the amazing job you guys do.
Thank you, Tom.
Yes.
All right, I think that we'll need a motion to go into an exec session, and before we do that, we just wish everybody a very happy and safe Memorial Day weekend, and we hope to